Hello there YouTube, and welcome. My name is AliensGT, also known as Ollie, and today we start my brand new series of Let's Draw the Pokedex. Now, for those of you who don't know, I am an artist outside of being a YouTuber. It's what I do, and I had an idea for a series in which I would go through the Pokedex, showing you one by one how to draw each of the Pokemon. Now, I don't know how many of these I'll do. I don't know whether I'll do the entire Kanto, like Pokedex, or all the Pokedex, or just a couple of Pokemon. It really depends on how these videos are received. Bearing that in mind, I would like to ask you now, if you enjoy this video, then to please leave a like, because it really does help me when you give me that sort of feedback, because this kind of video takes a lot of preparation. Anyway, on to the subject at hand. It seems reasonable to start with the first Pokemon in all the Pokedexes, in terms of the National and the Kanto, and that is Bulbasaur. So, Bulbasaur. The name Bulbasaur comes from the English words bulb, which is a rounded underground storage. Yeah, it's like a storage part for plants that lives underground, and it comes from the word saur, which is the Greek word for lizard. So, in the English name, there is an implication that Bulbasaur is in fact a lizard. However, this is just the English name. The original name, the Japanese name, is Fushigidane, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Probably not. And Fushigidane, literally translated, means "isn't it strange?" And this was sort of like an inside joke that was like a pun, because obviously at this point, when Bulbasaur was made, when Bulbasaur was first shown, Pokemon was a brand new concept, and an odd concept at that. You know, it wasn't known. And so by calling it this, it was sort of a joke about, you know, this is an odd creature. But there's a secondary translation, which means mysterious bulb, which fits more with the English translation. However, there is no mention of any sort of reptilian descendancy. Now, for Bulbasaur's head, you're going to be drawing a sort of feline shape. So we've got a lot of influences here. And you just want to go for the sort of wide cheeks, slightly pointed chin, and then two rounded but pointed ears. So, you know, it does have a very feline nature to it. Obviously, Bulbasaur having no actual connection with felines. What's interesting about Bulbasaur's name comes in when you look at the alternate names. Now, the French name is Bulbasaur, or Bulbasaur, which comes from the words bulbe and bizarre. So, looking more at the strange translation of the name. So, isn't it strange? Bulbasaur, so bizarre bulb, mysterious bulb, that sort of sense. Whereas the German translation, this is perhaps one of the most interesting interpretations of Bulbasaur's name, is Baisasam. Baisasam, coming from the words Baisamrata and Samen. Now, Samen, translated, can mean seed. Now, that makes sense, you know, that fits with the idea of Bulbasaur, you know, having a giant seed on his back. But Baisamrata actually translates to muskrat, which suggests that Bulbasaur is of actually rodent descendancy, related to Rattata, Raticate, those sorts of Pokemon. Now, speaking as someone who obviously wasn't a designer for Pokemon, I've never in my life considered Bulbasaur to be a rat or a rodent of any description. But according to the German translation of the name, Baisamrata, it's a muskrat, which is an aquatic rat, actually, speaking, which is bizarre considering that Bulbasaur is, you know, a plant poison type. But I thought that was rather interesting. And then the Korean name, which let's have a try. Isangasi. means strange seed. So, you know, there's a whole number of translations. Now, for the bulb on its back, you want to go for a large rounded shape, and then you've got 5 spikes on the top. Now, how pointed you make the spikes is up to you. I mean, you can have it this sort of flatter shape, or if you want to, you can go slightly further into the bulb's shape and curve it up slightly. And if you just bring this curve round, you can do this. And just widen this if you're going to go for this style, because the shape of the bulb actually changes very rapidly between generations and between individual interpretations. But if we go for this style as well, just to show you the alternate methods of drawing him, you know, this is supposed to be educational, as much as drawing fictional characters can be educational. You know, it's here to help both with your drawing knowledge and also your Pokemon knowledge, hopefully. That's the idea. I've done a load of background research into the Pokemon I'm drawing, so hopefully make these videos a little more interesting, because they're likely to be quite long. I've put an 8 GB memory card in for this, and I've had to reduce it from 1080p to 720 in order to hopefully get the whole thing. But you can never be sure. Now my dog's going to start barking, so I'm just going to go close my door. Oh, the joys of being unable to edit. This is what I get for not having any software available to me at the moment. Yeah, so we've got this shape here. So the seed is this essentially, it's based upon an onion, or some people say, I think it's a lily, sorry. I always get the two confused. An onion or a lily is the shape, and so you've got the idea of an unfurling flower. But that's the shape of the bulb. Now the body, a mistake that a lot of people make when drawing the body onto Bulbasaur, they've got the head and the bulb right, and they go, okay, I'm going to draw the body now. The mistake they make is they draw it from the head. They draw it from here. What you should actually draw is from here. So if you curve around a leg, now the leg, this is a quadruped, so it's got four legs, and it's got 3 toes or claws on each foot. Now these toes or claws are white, and they take up the majority of the lower foot space. So you want to make sure that these claws are the right size to fill up the foot area. You know, you don't want them to be massively spaced out or anything like that. They look very weird when you do that. So you want to have this secondary line here to indicate the depth and show the transition between the legs. And then you want to go under the body here. So Bulbasaur isn't exactly thin. He's got a bit of bulk to him. But you want to bring the arm. Hey, no, not yet. Sorry about that. This is all done live, and I've already had to redo this once, which was frustrating because I got about 3/4 of the way through the drawing and had to re-record it. But I'm going to finish it this time, so apologies for the live nature of it and the unedited nature of it. I believe by the time I'm doing more of these, I will have acquired some sort of editing software. But at the moment, I'm running on with literally none. This is going to be uploaded as raw footage. But this arm up here, we're doing it sticking out. This is an action pose for Bulbasaur. Don't worry too much about shading. I know I get tempted, but that's just to show perspective at the moment, just so you know which is on top and which is beneath. And then you want some claws there. Now, finally, you want to do this lower leg. Now, the legs do sort of point. They're sort of a rounded point, but you certainly don't want to make them pointy. You just want to make sure that they do sort of thin towards the base. And make sure the claws are all in nicely. So we have the basic Bulbasaur shape, and I've just realised I've got like a beam of sunlight coming through. Bad sunlight. I don't know where that's coming. from? Anyway, it's a beam of sunlight. We'll live. We can cover it with a lamp, perhaps. Anyway, so we've got the basic Bulbasaur shape. Obviously this is very rough, it's quite sketchy, but you get the basic picture. Now, we want to go into details, obviously we want it to look like a Bulbasaur. So, the first thing we're going to draw in are the eyes. Now, the eye on the left of the drawing is quite close to the edge of the head. And it's a big anime eye. You know, this is it's got all its Japanese influences here. It's got this lovely curve to it. I've just done it slightly wrong, actually. And yeah, Bulbasaur as a Pokemon has a base stat total of 318, which it shares with Turtwig and Chikorita. So it's a sort of common standard for the grass starter Pokemon to have that stat total. Its best stats are its special attack and special defense, which sit equal at 65. In the first generation, its special stat, which was later split into special attack and special defense, sat at 65. It is considered the easiest Pokemon to start with in the first generation because it is actually super effective against the first two gyms, which makes it very easy to start with. As it, using its moves that it will learn through leveling up after beating the first gym, will be able to just waltz its way through the second gym. Now, it is the only starter Pokemon that is dual typed. What it means by that is that it has more than one category in terms of its type of Pokemon. So it's both a grass type Pokemon and a poison type. And of all the starter Pokemon, it is the only Pokemon that has that second type. Now, obviously, later on, when they've evolved, the Pokemon acquire second types, but Bulbasaur is the only one to have it as its first form. Now, if you just... For the mouth, you want to draw like a really basic bat symbol. Like bat signal, that's the only way I can think to describe it right now. You've got a pointed mouth, a pointed bit between the nostrils, and the rest is basically a very wide smile. And then he has two pointed teeth on either side. So that balances up the mouth. Now with the eyes, once you've got them drawn, you can go for some detail on the eyes if you want. Just want to have him looking over here. And phone rings. Hello? I'm fine, just in the middle of recording a video. I'll have dinner here, please. Yes, please. Thanks. Bye. I will persevere with this video. I will not I will not start again because I've started again before and I do not want to sit through another 30-minute video again. So apologies for that. Right. Now, admittedly, without the shading, he looks a bit manic, but don't worry, it looks better once it's all come together. Now, Bulbasaur has these very iconic blotches on his skin. I just say blotches, that's just a term I can think of that fits for them. What's interesting about the blotches is they are not consistent. They are individual to each Bulbasaur. So there's no way to get them wrong. Essentially, you can draw them however you like, and they'll be correct for your Bulbasaur. So just put them wherever you want. I'm following a set that I'm familiar with. Now, Bulbasaur in the anime has been the companion of two main characters. Actually, both Ash and May have had Bulbasaurs. They are, by nature, very loyal Pokemon and also very easy to train. which is probably why Ash had one. Oh, burn. They're very rarely found in the wild. They are traditionally bred by trainers for training. They are used as the starter Pokemon in Kanto, and that is all you'll really encounter of them. Now, in the first games, in Red and Blue, and also Japanese Green, Bulbasaur was acquired simply through choosing it as your starter Pokemon, whereas in Yellow, it could be acquired from a person in Cerulean City, provided your Pikachu's happiness level was high enough. Anyway, now that we've got the basic details drawn out, what we'll do is we'll add some shading. Now, I will refine it a little bit, because there are certain elements that are a bit dodgy at the moment, but if you shade in the eyes, because from personal experience, the eyes being shaded in is the thing that changes everything. It makes it look more like Bulbasaur. Now, I'm just using a standard 4B pencil here. You can use whatever pencil you like. You can also use pen. You can use paints. This one here has been using paints. Bulbasaur has a nice simple colour scheme, using primarily reds and greens. In fact, I'd say primarily greens, and then it has reds involved. The eyes are what are red, as are the mouth, as is the mouth, as are the mouth. Terrible grammar there. Now, I would add colour, but without editing software and without without the ability to combine videos or speed them up or anything, I don't have the time to sit and paint this all for you. But what I might do is, when this is fully finished, I'll post it on my Facebook, which you just have to search for Aliens GT on Facebook. It needs a bit of love, actually, that Facebook page. I don't usually use it simply because very few people follow it. But if you were to go over to my Facebook and click on it, I will certainly start doing stuff with it. So you basically want to do the patches darker. Then for the bulb, you want to do like a curved shadow here. So we'll go from here. And I actually have no idea how much time I have, so if this video cuts off, then I do apologise. This is all very trial and error, this. And then we have like a curved shadow here. He actually has a bit of his backside where he's got a bit of light. But with shading, I mean, I've always enjoyed shading. It's a very relaxing part of drawing, I find. Find my voice struggling after doing this twice. But really, it's just a case of thinking where the light would and wouldn't be, you know, and shading accordingly. And by doing so, you can give something what was two-dimensional a more three-dimensional depth. So, you know, underneath the bulb at the very base, it's going to be darker than further up. And getting that blend is important. And then along this ear, we're going to have a light shading, assuming that our light source is over here. And we'll just do a light shade in the mouth as well. Now, you know, this isn't it's going to sound like defensive now, but this isn't the best drawing I've ever done. It's not even the best drawing I've done of Bulbasaur, but at the moment I'm a little bit rushed. I'm a little bit tired, having, you know, I did this This is the second time I've had to draw him, and it's unfortunate really, because the whole video has been a bit of a mess, but I wanted to try and get this done because I do like the idea of this series, and I do like the idea of having factoids in amongst it all, and you know, trying to entertain and inform at the same time is a difficult task, but it's one I've tried to step up to do, and probably failed. I'm probably going to get some very critical people saying that this isn't very good, but I will aim to improve in the future. Now this is, as I said before, this is a very basic Bulbasaur drawing, but you'll notice the one detail that I've missed out on was his eyebrows, which are less eyebrows and more just lines. You know, just put them in. And then what I tend to do is I add a pen overlay. But I don't know how much time I've got. I've got 7 minutes. We can use 7 minutes. So what I'm going to do is get a pen, and then we just go over the details in said pen. And there's a very simple fact in drawing, and that is, pen makes everything look better. It'll also make it easier for you guys to spot, hopefully. Because I actually have no idea how good this is going to look on camera. And this is the first time I've tried to draw whilst explaining what I'm doing. Also the first time I've tried to draw to entertain, you know, draw to an audience whilst trying to think of things to talk about, and you know, explaining my process and trying to keep the techniques simplified. You know, like what I can't, you know, the way I draw is I look at something and I draw it. It's not really any more complicated than that, but it's very difficult to teach someone that. I certainly didn't learn that from my art teacher at school, who incidentally I despised, which makes me all the more happy to have achieved triple distinction at college, having dropped out of school, just to prove him wrong. You'd also be amazed at how difficult it is to talk when you're trying to concentrate on drawing. I'm male here, I'm not very good at multitasking. Also, I'm trying to avoid leaning in too much and interrupting the camera, which I'm sure I've done a couple of times at certain points. But hopefully now you can see the more intricate details of Bulbasaur now that I'm highlighting them for you. And hopefully I can get it done in 7 minutes. Part of me is just worrying about the file size. That's going to be fun to play around with. As I said, I've got no way of editing it. This is just such unprofessional style, really, that I've got nothing to work with. Because what happened was, I updated my OS to Mountain Lion because I wanted to play Game Dev Tycoon, which, by the way, was totally not worth me breaking my computer for, but I'll deal with that in a different video. But No, I updated the OS, and loads of things on my laptop broke. Just so much broke. It was heartbreaking. Even my calculator doesn't work anymore. I don't know how a calculator can be OS specific, but the laptop's inbuilt calculator no longer does anything. Probably have to download a new app from the App Store, which they're just so obsessed with, and I despise. But oh well, I took a leap of faith, and it didn't work out. I kind of trusted Apple to have made a really good bit of software, and now I'm buying a Windows PC, which I guess speaks bounds. Don't get me wrong, I love my Mac, but Apple themselves are a bit completely useless. And yes, I did contradict myself in my statement there intentionally. Also, with this Bulbasaur, do bear in mind that I wouldn't actually normally recommend you draw him this big, unless you're specifically wanting to draw a big drawing of him. He actually works really nicely as a little sketch, but obviously, for the sake of the audience and for the sake of the camera, I've drawn him bigger to make sure that he's definitely visible. But certainly hasn't suffered too much, you know. Hopefully you agree that it's not an appalling attempt to show you how to draw him. Now, this is just sort of detail stuff now. This is just the shadings. This is just finishing touches, you know. At this point I'd normally be painting him, but as I said, I don't want to waste the time, the very limited time I have. I mean, I have 1 minute now, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. As I said at the beginning, if you could leave a like, that would be phenomenal, because these sort of videos take a lot of effort, as you can probably sense. They're a lot more work than just recording a bit of gameplay and talking about it. And hopefully you've enjoyed learning a bit about drawing Pokemon, about the process involved, about me as an artist. And hopefully you want to see more, and if you do want to see more, then definitely do leave a like. Perhaps tell me what your favourite Pokemon is, because that's always an interesting thing to discuss. But yeah, there's a drawing of Bulbasaur, and there's how to do it. And oh, I've got to make sure he's on camera. There we go, Bulbasaur. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. Thank you very much. I've got 19 seconds left. Just remember, if you haven't already, please click subscribe, and you'll see the next videos coming out soon, where we'll be tackling Ivysaur. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and goodbye.